Introduction to Docker Compose. Modern applications use multiple containers. Managing containers manually becomes difficult. Docker Compose simplifies application management. Entire application stacks can be defined in one file. Why Docker Compose exists. Imagine an application with front-end container, back-end container, database container, cache container. Managing all containers manually is time-consuming. Challenges of manual management. Multiple Docker run commands. Manual network creation. Manual volume management. Configuration complexity. Increased risk of errors. Applications become harder to maintain. Manual workflow example. Create network. Run database. Run backend. Run frontend. Configure everything. Many repetitive steps are required. What is Docker Compose? A tool for managing multi-container applications. Uses a single configuration file. Automates container creation. Simplifies networking and storage. Compose treats applications as a complete stack. Benefits of Docker Compose. Simpler deployments. Consistent environments. Faster onboarding. Easier maintenance. Better collaboration. Compose improves productivity. Understanding the Compose file. Common file name. dockercompose.yml. Contains services, networks, volumes, configuration settings. Acts as an application blueprint. What is YAML? YAML equals YAML ain't markup language. Characteristics. Human readable. Easy to edit. Configuration focused. Widely used in DevOps. Docker Compose uses YAML format. Simple Compose example. Version 3. Services. Web. Image, Jinx. Defines a simple web service. Understanding services. A service represents a Docker container. Examples. Frontend. Backend. Database. Each service has its own configuration. Why services matter. Services allow developers to organize applications, define dependencies, manage containers together, simplify deployments. Starting applications. Command. Docker Compose up. Compose automatically. Creates containers. Creates networks. Starts services. What happens during Compose up? Step 1. Read Compose file. Step 2. Create resources. Step 3. Start containers. Application running. Stopping applications. Command. Docker Compose down. Compose automatically. Stops containers. Removes containers. Removes networks. Docker Compose workflow. Create Compose file. Docker Compose up. Application running. Docker Compose down. Application stopped. Multi-service application example. Frontend. Backend. Database. All defined in one Compose file. Typical Compose structure. Services. Frontend. Backend. Database. Each service contains specific settings. Defining images. Example. Services. Web. Image, Jinx. Specifies which image to use. Port mapping example. Ports. 8080:80. Host port. 8080. Container port. 80. Environment variables. Environment. DB_host equals MySQL. DB_port equals 3306. Used to configure applications. Volume configuration. Volumes. MySQL data /var/lib/MySQL provides persistent storage. Why volumes matter. Benefits. Persistent data. Database storage. Backup support. Data protection. Network configuration. Networks. App network. Services on the same network can communicate. Automatic service discovery. Service name. Database. Docker DNS. Database container. No IP address required. Real-world example. E-commerce application. Frontend. Backend API. MySQL database. Redis cache. Managed through one Compose file. Development workflow without Compose. Run database. Run backend. Run frontend. Configure networking. Start testing. Development workflow with Compose. Docker Compose up. Everything starts automatically. Much faster and simpler. Docker Compose in DevOps. Common uses. Local development. Testing. CI/CD pipelines. Team collaboration. Compose is widely adopted. Why teams love Compose. Faster setup. Consistent environments. Easier collaboration. Reduced errors. Improved productivity. Understanding YAML indentation. Correct. Services. Web. Image, Jinx. Indentation is critical. Common YAML mistakes. Incorrect spacing. Missing indentation. Misaligned sections. Invalid syntax. Small mistakes can break configurations. Compose versus Docker run. Docker run. Manual. Individual containers. Repetitive commands. Docker Compose. Automated. Multi-container support. Configuration as code. Compose features summary. Service management. Network creation. Volume management. Environment variables. Automation. Everything is centralized. Best practices. Use meaningful service names. Keep Compose files organized. Use named volumes. Document configurations. Follow YAML formatting rules. Common beginner mistakes. YAML formatting errors. Incorrect service names. Missing volumes. Missing port mappings. Misconfigured networks. Interview question. Question. What is Docker Compose used for? Answer. Docker Compose is used to define and manage multi-container Docker applications using a YAML configuration file. Key takeaways and lesson summary. Docker Compose manages application stacks. YAML files define services and resources. Compose automates networking and storage. Applications start with a single command. Compose improves consistency and productivity.